r slash entitled people. Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r slash entitled people stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My Karen daughter refuses to pay rent. After that, am I the jerk for wanting to cash out my life insurance policy? And after that, you're gonna need to repeat that back to me. Double malicious compliance. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to pay rent. But I never even get to leave this room. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for news stories from Reddit every single day. My Karen daughter refuses to pay rent. I, 50 female, told my daughter, who's 24, she needs to pay rent. She got out of college in February and has struggled to find a job until October. I supported her during the job hunt and she's been living home rent-free. I was excited for her to finally find a job, especially when it's surprisingly well paying. She told me she won't get paid until late this month. I said it was fine, but she still needs to pay rent. The other day, she told me she planned a trip with her friends and was saving for plane tickets. I reminded her again she still needs to pay me rent, as it felt like she's trying to avoid rent so she could save money for her trip. She told me she would pay the rent, but deducting her credit card bill. Apparently, she wanted me to pay her credit card bill first, then keep the rest as rent. I told her that was unacceptable. She rolled her eyes and tried to walk away. In the heat of the moment, I said some unfortunate things. At the end of the fight, she finally agreed to pay the rent and her own credit card bill. My daughter has become extremely distant since. She started working overtime almost all week. I tried to talk to her. I even told her that she can keep her original plan, but she just kept fixating on the things that I've said, either ignoring my message or telling me how I've misunderstood her and I made her feel bad. My husband thinks I'm the jerk because he thinks our daughter was already stressed and I kept reminding her for the rent money she didn't have. Demanding rent in a fight made me the villain. Today, she handed me a stack of cash, rent and credit card bill included. I tried to tell her the money will be in a family savings account. She rolled her eyes and said she doesn't care. She then cut up the credit card I was managing the bills for. My husband gave me a "I told you so" look. I honestly don't think that I deserved any of this treatment. I love my daughter very much, but I can't help but wonder if my husband was right. Am I the jerk? Info. A lot of people have asked me what I said, so I'll answer here. The reason why I said it doesn't matter is because not only did she confront me on the spot, I don't think she'd react that way if the fight hadn't been about money. It was in the heat of the moment. I may have called her a bad or a crappy person, but that was it. I did not cross the line. I'll clarify the Christmas present part. We charged it on installment, so she knew how much it cost. She's still entitled to use the credit card as she likes. She paid as much as she could with her part-time jobs. Like I mentioned in one of the replies, she never made that much. She barely paid any part of that iPad. It's mostly on her own food and chores. My husband and I covered the rest. They aren't dead. Nothing can't be paid off with her income. More info. If she doesn't want to pay the rent, she doesn't have to. We want her to contribute to the family. Based on how much she's making, the amount equal to the broader city average rent is what me and my husband decided on. She can afford it. She isn't struggling. Final update. This will be my last update on the Christmas gift situation. So many people seem to be fixated on it. No, we didn't make her pay for it. We charged it on her card so she knew how installments worked. This was just a rare incident. We have a large sum expense. My husband and I paid it off at the end of each month. She made little money tutoring back in college, and she used the credit card for food and clothes. These were the expenses she actually paid for, and what she made were oftentimes not enough, and I had to cover the extra. The average rent is for a studio apartment in the broader city. As I've mentioned, it's impossible to find a decent rental in this area. There is no comp for it. I'm tired, and this will be my final update. You're the jerk. In the heat of the moment, you said some unfortunate things. This is my favorite "am I the jerk" behavior. We have no idea what you said here, but since you're trying to hide it, I bet it made you sound like a colossal jerk. So, you're the jerk. Now you're mad that your daughter doesn't want to treat you like family when you treat her like a tenant. You want to act like a crappy landlord, you're going to get treated like a crappy landlord. Right? And in a comment, she says what she said didn't matter. No, it matters. And her not wanting to reveal what she said makes me think she said some unforgivable stuff. OP sounds like my mother-in-law. Just say the most hurtful crap you can think of to win the argument. Try to pretend like it never happened, then wonder why people are still mad about it years later. She poisoned her relationship with my brother-in-law that way, and she's chipping away at my husband too. OP, when your daughter stops talking to you, this will be why. Info. What unfortunate things did you say? That seems to be pretty central information you've left out. In response to the edit, calling your kid a crappy person is crossing the line. You're the jerk. You're the jerk. First, for whatever you said to her that you're not telling us. Second, for knowingly demanding rent from your daughter, starting from before she actually gets paid. She's your kid. Would it hurt to wait 2 months and have a plan for reasonable rent starting then? Getting a new job involves expenses, professional clothes, figuring out transportation, etc. You're not a landlord, you're a parent. If you want her to treat you like a landlord, you'll need to give her the autonomy of a tenant. Her room and designated spaces are her own. You can't touch food that she buys or prepares. You can't ask about her finances at all, beyond expecting a rent check on time. You're in the right to act this way, but coming from a supposed loving parent, you're the jerk. Your daughter is right to cut up the credit card you have access to if you're going to act this way towards her. You can't have it both ways, with the control of a parent and the income of a landlord. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk for how they acted or not? Please let us know. Am I the jerk for wanting to cash out my life insurance policy? So yeah, I have a terminal medical condition. I'm male 28, which I won't go into too much detail about. I didn't have the best health insurance and doctors, so I found out I had a big problem pretty much when it was too late. About the only thing I had of value, other than some meager savings, an even smaller 401 and my car, was a life insurance policy I got years ago when I was 18. It was a relatively small amount yearly and awesome terms, so why not? I always thought I could swap it over to a future wife and kids, but not happening now. So I haven't been able to work now for about 2 months, but I won't be eligible for hospice care until probably a few weeks before the end. The actual policy itself was for an eye-watering amount if I passed before a certain age, which unfortunately is what's going to happen. I've been living at home with my parents rent-free since I stopped working, which is good of them. We haven't had the best relationship growing up, and they pretty much only did the minimum required by law in terms of how they raised me. No complaints, but not Parents of the Year material. A lot of this was due to finances. I've been putting money towards food and utilities, but not the rent they are paying, as that was a cost they were covering by themselves, and my being here hasn't increased it. Anyway, I've been investigating cash outs, both through the company and investor groups that will give you a bit more in exchange for being named as beneficiary. I will probably stick with the company offer to get things moving faster. There are going to be some taxation issues, but the end result will be that my parents will essentially get an amount that will cover my funeral and possibly a really good secondhand car. I estimate that the amount I will get will be enough for me to rent a nice condo near the beach, nice meals, maid service, some great experiences while I'm well enough, and some in-home care nursing towards the end. My parents have basically said that the life insurance policy named to them will set them up for life and allow them to buy a house and invest, etc., and probably even retire early. They're in their 50s, and we're probably going to have to work until they dropped. They're telling me that they've made a lot of sacrifices to have me move into their house until I go to hospice, but I really don't see what that is other than the inconvenience of 3 adults in a 2-bedroom house. One of them was going to give up work towards the end to provide some home care until I qualified for hospice, but my cashing out will mean they can keep working. I get that it would be the noble thing to help my parents out, but I don't want to. Final edit. I'm tired and I'm going to have a nap. Thanks to all the messages of support and clarification on hospice entitlements and Fin advice. To put concerns to rest, when I said I won't be eligible for hospice for a few weeks before the end, I worded it badly. As much as is in my power, the only time I will go into hospice proper is my last few weeks. I'm young and strong, and I plan to spend as much time by the sea until I can't. Let's see if life messes that up for me too. I will be meeting up with my social worker soon and making sure I claim everything I can. I love my parents, despite the past, and my family and I know this is putting a terrible strain on all of us, and I hope they will forgive me and keep the best memories on top. That's all, everyone. Take care. Edit. A few people have asked about the cash out versus beneficiary payment. 6 figures cash out, 7 figures if it goes to the beneficiaries. It's a crazy good policy, but only because of my age and the condition I have. It's like winning the worst lottery ever. Not the jerk. Your parents are looking at you as a post-mortem ATM. They actually are looking forward to you passing so they can cash in. Take the money and spend it how you wish. If you don't have long to go, You should be spending it as happy and comfortable as you're able to. Besides, it's your life insurance. It's your money. It's a kindness already to leave enough to cover the funeral. Your loss shouldn't be their gain. They should want the best for you while you're here. Not the jerk. Not the jerk. Cash it out. Rent your condo and enjoy the time you have left. Who cares if they get mad about it? They're only looking at what you can do for them and don't care how much happier you will be for the remainder of your life. They're being selfish instead of being caring parents. You enjoy that money. You deserve it more than they do. You're gonna need to repeat that back to me. Double malicious compliance. Hey y'all, it's drive-through OP again. I'll start off by saying this. If you ever feel petty enough to ruin a drive-through person's day at work, ask them to repeat the order back. This isn't because it takes too long or it's difficult, so much as it's insulting to our intelligence. I still do it with a smile, mostly, but not this evening. When a car drives in the drive-through, it sets the sensor off instantly, and we hear everything everyone in the car says. My headset beeps, I greet the customer, and I hear, "Oh, sweet, mellow yellow peach." I ask whether he wants a small, medium, or large. "No, jerk, not you. How about you pay attention?" Enter malicious compliance 1. I'll pay attention, all right. In the meantime, I tell him to let me know when he's ready. He orders, in the most convoluted way possible, insulting me directly in between every other item. I even do him the favor of making his items a combo, because I've learned that when in doubt, err towards nice. He then stops me as I'm about to say the total. "Look, dude, you're gonna need to repeat that back to me. I know you messed that crap up." He had a very rude tone the whole way, which I'm learning to be better at picking up on in my twilight years. I'm 46. Enter malicious compliance part 2, which unlocks part 1. Time to employ my memory and voice acting skills. "You got it, sir," in my California surfer Keanu Reeves voice. "Dude, sweet, mellow yellow peach." I then go back to my voice for my parts. Small, medium, or large? "No, jerk, not you." "Well, let me know when you're ready." "Okay, man, I want a bacon burger, a big one." "Which burger, sir? We have—" "Look, dummy, a bacon burger." I keep going back and forth, switching between exaggerated and insulting California dude crush voice and my regular voice. Each of the 5 times he called me a name in the transcript, I make it in my voice, so it's me insulting him with his own words. My manager, Bruce, jumped behind the ice machine to laugh at what I was saying. I repeated like 98% of the conversation verbatim, right up to the request to repeat it back to me. He finally says, "You know what? Goodbye, and go forget yourself." I say, "Have a nice evening," and wave to a man who was in the process of ruining his tire just to make a gesture with the hand towards me as he unsuccessfully passes the drive-thru window. I couldn't have planned it any better. He seriously popped his tire as he hopped the right curb. The best part? The 2 family nuggets he ordered, 50 nuggets for $11.99, didn't have to be made. Bruce was happier than any of us about this, as the cost to the company was so great. This guy disappeared into a flurry of yellow lights, clanking chains, and customers with carfuls of food, hopefully never to be heard from again. My wife refuses to pay her fair share around the house. I, male 39, have been married to my wife Stacy, female 30, for 5 years now, and we have 2 kids together. I also share 3 kids with my ex-wife Hannah, female 37. Ever since Stacy and I got together, she's made it very clear to me that my 3 kids are mine and Hannah's responsibility, not hers. This has worked out well so far, but lately it's been taking a toll on me. I pay Hannah child support every month. Ever since Stacy had our first kid, she's demanded that I give her the same amount of money each month to keep things fair. In addition, I have to pay for half of our joint household expenses, like the mortgage, utilities, food, and my own car. Stacy pays for the majority of expenses for our kids. Here lies the problem. Stacy has never taken issue with having to care for mine and Hannah's kids. She picks them up from school, takes them to activities, and ensures they have everything they need. However, anytime she purchases anything for them, she immediately sends me a Venmo request and demands I cover all expenses related to the kids that are not hers. We recently went on a family vacation, and she demanded that I pay for half of the portion for our kids and all of the portion for Hannah's. I told her that all these expenses are taking a hit on my finances, and she didn't even seem to care. She reiterated that my kids are my responsibility. To add insult to injury, She recently started contributing money to college funds for her kids, while Hannah and I have nothing saved for our kids' college. Hannah found out and asked that I start funds for our kids. When I talked with Stacy about this, she said this was fine, but I had to put the same amount of money in the funds she has set up for the kids. I told Stacy I need her to start paying her fair share of expenses around the household. I cannot afford to pay child support, household expenses, and all of these miscellaneous expenses that come up for my kids. It wouldn't hurt her financially, as she makes more than me and could easily spare some money. Stacy blew up and took our kids to her parents' house, and I haven't heard from her in a day and a half. Am I the jerk for demanding that she pay her fair share? You're the jerk. Stacy is paying half of the household expenses. Stacy is paying for majority of things for the 2 kids you have with her. Stacy is helping you with childcare for 3 kids that are not her own. Stacy does not have to contribute to their college funds. That is on you and Hannah to figure out. It's not her fault that neither Hannah or you thought about this until she was proactive about her kids' future. We recently went on a family vacation, and she demanded that I pay for half of the portion for our kids and all of the portion for Hannah's. How is this unreasonable? The only thing that is a little odd is that you're giving Stacy the same monthly amount that you give your ex. This is confusing to me. I suppose it makes me question where this money goes, how much money she lost in earnings when she was pregnant with the 2 kids, who paid the medical expenses, etc. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know. Some of these stories make me so glad that we don't have kids. They also make me glad that I'm not married to a complete idiot. Am I the jerk for only inviting some of my sister's kids to my wedding? I, female 25, got married to my husband, male 25, in August. We kept it small and simple and didn't want too many guests due to budget, so we only invited close family members and friends. My older sister, Dawn, who's 38, has 10 kids. They're 17, 16, 14, 10, 9, 7, 5, 3, 3, and 1. My parents and the rest of the family aren't religious, but Dawn and her husband are very much so, and they believe that having lots of kids is God's will. Obviously, inviting all of my nieces and nephews would be quite a cost. My wedding wasn't child-free, but my husband and I decided it would be fairest if we only invited Dawn's eldest 3 kids. I talked to Dawn about it and explained our reasoning, but she was really offended and said that I'm picking favorites. I told her I'm sorry, but 10 kids is a big cost on our wedding budget and that we tried to be as fair as possible. Dawn accused me of being a bridezilla and thinking I'm too good for her and her family. I told Dawn if she doesn't like it, she doesn't have to come, but that she's my sister and I really want her at the wedding. Dawn, her husband, and 3 eldest did come to the wedding, but with other family members bringing their kids, everyone was asking her about why not all of hers were there. After the wedding, Dawn has been very off around me lately. She told me she understands how I feel about her babies and said I'm a bad sister and a terrible aunt and has accused me of not respecting her religion and lifestyle. My parents and other siblings have been making comments like, "Don't get too excited for XYZ. OP said only 3 people can come because there's too many of us." The comments have been getting to me a bit, and I'm wondering if I was the jerk. ETA, my husband and I paid for the wedding ourselves. I didn't want to ask my parents or Dawn for help with paying for anything, because neither of them have a lot of money. If Dawn offered to help cover costs so that all of her kids could come, I wouldn't have had a problem. I might get downvoted for this, but not the jerk. If your sister was so upset, she could have offered to contribute towards the costs. A consequence of having a load of kids is that people aren't going to want to cater to all of them at events because it's a big cost. Edit. I agree this could have been planned better to prevent drama, as others suggested a blanket rule. But I don't think OP is a jerk, and I can see their logic behind it. Hindsight is 2020. Not the jerk. She literally said it wasn't in the budget for 10 kids plus 2 adults. That's a family of 12. And for all the "you're the jerks" in the comments, how about y'all invite the family to your weddings? See how much that crap costs. Sorry, you're the jerk. Your sister and her huge family is part of her family. You asked her to exclude 7 of her kids in an event that celebrates family. Marriage is joining 2 families together. Also, 3-year-olds and 1-year-olds don't eat and drink that much for it to be a burden on you financially. I agree with sis that you just don't see them as family since she has so many. Your niece and nephews lost the luster for you. You're the jerk. If you wanted to avoid the drama, you could have made the wedding completely child-free or 12 and up only. Otherwise, letting others bring their small kids but not letting your sister bring your nieces and nephews is just plain wrong. You're the jerk. If you had said no kids under this age, you would have been fine. However, you allowed other people to bring the... Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her sister? Please let us know. 10 kids? Bruh. Am I the jerk for telling my girlfriend I don't want the Christmas holiday to be all about her? I, 31 male, have been together with my girlfriend, 25 female, for 2 years now. We both live in London, UK together, but I'm originally from Czech Republic. I will visit my family in my home country next Christmas. My girlfriend also wants to come. Last night, we were looking for train tickets for her. I already booked my flight tickets separately. She's afraid of flying. While looking for dates, she told me she would like to arrive a few days before the actual Christmas, so she can relax and sleep a lot after the long train ride to prepare for the busy Christmas days. This really annoyed me. I told her I don't want this holiday to be all about her. I just want to have a good time with my family. She doesn't need to tell me how many days she needs to prepare and sleep, and that she will only have energy for 3 out of 7 days. I wish she would keep me out of that. This has been a theme for every holiday. She's often tired after a social activity and needs to have a day rest in between. I feel super limited by that. I just want to have a good time, not a girlfriend who's always tired. My family also thinks it's weird that she sleeps long and sometimes skips an activity when we visit to do something on her own. But now she's upset with me. She told me she's reconsidering coming at all for Christmas. She says I make her feel like she's not allowed to take up space, that it will only be a fun and conflict-free holiday if she pretends she has more energy than she has. And yeah, it's true that I sometimes want her to just get over it. I'm also tired sometimes, and I don't let that limit my life. It's so weird that I just want a peaceful holiday and her to leave me out of comments that she is too tired and wants to rest. Edit. Some of the comments are suggesting that my girlfriend has a medical condition, like chronic fatigue syndrome, that I forgot to mention. That is not the case. My girlfriend is just an introvert who gets overstimulated quickly in unfamiliar surroundings. With resting, I also don't mean sleeping for 3 days straight. Just some hours for herself, a walk, spending time with just me, etc. But often she will be in bed until like 11. You're the jerk. Bro, are you listening to how you're talking about this? At least you have a girlfriend willing to come to another country who's afraid of flying but will still make other arrangements just to come. I might add, to spend time with you and your family. You don't want to hear about how she has to rest? Social events take a lot out of people, some more than others, depending on how quickly you recharge. Cut her a break. She sounds lovely. You should be riding the darn train with her. She's willing to go to another country with you to visit your family. She's planning in advance to arrive early enough to rest and recharge before holiday events. She doesn't ask you to stay with her when she's not up for doing whatever is planned. She just needs more downtime than you and your family. I'm confused how, hey, I want to come down a few days early so I can sleep off the trip without it impacting Christmas, is making it all about her. She's actually trying not to be a problem by ensuring she's entering into the holiday rested and ready to go. So yup, you're the jerk. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his girlfriend? Please let us know. Bruh. Am I the jerk for not allowing my husband to convert my office into a bedroom? My husband and I had kids before our marriage. He had 3 and I had 2. They're all over 30 now. We've known each other for 6 years. After my son left home, I rented the house and bought a smaller one with 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. One room being my office and another normal. My husband and I have lived together in my house for 2 years, and we split the bills half and half. But because my husband lost his old job and isn't earning as much at the new one, the bills are 3/4 for me. Our house is not a good place to receive visitors, especially for a long time because they have to stay on a mattress in the living room. I don't let them sleep in the office because that's my place of work. Currently, I'm almost 80% of my appointments on video call. I'm a psychologist, so I need a reserved place and there are a lot of patient documents, so no visits there. One of my husband's kids, Logan, who's 32, male, is visiting our country, 5 years abroad, and after staying at his mother's house, he came to see my husband. We invited him to stay for a few days. My husband is over the moon with Logan present, and although I say our house is not the best place for long visits, he insisted that Logan stay at home for another 2 weeks. The first week after that went fine, but Friday, my husband came to talk to me, suggesting that in these last days that Logan stays here, he stay in the office, put things against the wall, because he wants to accommodate his son better, and it's sad to see him not having the least privacy even to sleep. I remembered my warning about not being the best place for this, and I'm not giving up my office because I work in it. He started to say that the comfort of a visitor should come first, and that I can use our room as a place of work, and he'll leave the room for that. It would only be a few days like this, 10 days. I was pretty annoyed, and I said, look, if my job is important to keep the house bills paid, then really, work comes first. It's a few days, but 8 days I have patients all morning and afternoon. You knew the house wasn't the best place for this and insisted, so it's on you. But my office is essential to my work. He began to say that I was rubbing it in his face, that I only support the house, but as my partner, I should be committed to helping my stepson get comfort. He's mad at me for keeping my answer, and honestly, I've never noticed anything from Logan. I just really feel that if the office were his place of work, it wouldn't be an option. Am I the jerk? The other 20% I work in another city for a clinic with these patients. Not the jerk. If you don't have a lock on that door, I'd get one. I wouldn't be surprised if you came back to find that he had moved things around anyway with how he keeps going on about it. Allowing people into your office is just asking for a data breach. If he doesn't understand by now how important that space is to your work, he never will. Not the jerk. I don't know Logan's financial situation, but if he gets in that room, he may never leave it. Every point you laid out is valid. You need to work. You need privacy. You could literally be violating HIPAA if you allow him access to the files. Am I the jerk for not wanting to compromise on my first home because of family? I, female 29, and my husband, male 32, are currently saving for our first house. We have 3 kids who are 5, 3, and 1, and I want at least a 3-bedroom, 1 for us, 2 to share amongst the 3 kids, and 2 bathrooms. My husband recently informed me that my mother-in-law is considering divorcing my father-in-law. My husband wants to change our house plan to include my mother-in-law moving in with us. We talked about what that would mean, and ultimately I decided I really don't want to do that, and it's caused a problem in our marriage. The reason why I decided against it is mainly because my mother-in-law would be taking full custody of her 10-year-old daughter, husband's half-sister, and we would also have to take mother-in-law's mom in, husband's grandmother. Mother-in-law is fine, but her daughter causes so much trouble and chaos. Many of my husband's aunts and cousins never visit anymore and told me it's because of the problems this girl causes with the other kids in the family her age, and I don't like her being around my kids as well. Grandmother-in-law is also elderly and needs full-time care, which I can't provide since I work and I have 3 kids to take care of. I told my husband that if this is what he wants, he can contribute more towards our savings and we can get a property with a back house for mother-in-law, her daughter, and grandmother-in-law. Husband doesn't want to contribute more money and instead suggested we keep our original plan, but keep 1 room for us and the kids, 1 room for grandmother-in-law, and 1 room for mother-in-law and her daughter. I said absolutely not, because the whole purpose of getting our own home was to have our own room, and our kids have their own room. We went back and forth, but my suggestions don't work for him, and his suggestions don't work for me. In the end, I suggested mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law move in with someone else, and my husband is upset that I suggested this. Mother-in-law's sister has a huge 5-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood 10 minutes away and only lives with her husband and adult son. My husband also has a younger brother, mother-in-law's favorite kid, who currently has a big 3-bedroom home with 2 living rooms and only lives with his wife and 1 daughter, who's 5. Brother-in-law also has more money saved up than we do and wants to upgrade to an even bigger home. I think these are both better options for mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law than my husband and I can possibly provide, but my husband hasn't been speaking to me lately because of this. Am I the jerk for not wanting to compromise our plan for our first home in order to accommodate family? Side note, mother-in-law has never had a job and doesn't plan on getting one, so we wouldn't be charging rent for anyone and would also have to pay for everyone's living expenses. Living situation would also be permanent since mother-in-law doesn't make money and therefore can't eventually move out. Husband and I also make the least amount of money in the family at a combined income of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. 4 adults, 4 kids, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, $50,000 to $60,000 total income? The math is not mathing. This is a recipe for disaster. Just conflict and not enough of anything to go around written all over it. I think all of your suggestions are sensible. Piling 8 people into a 3-bedroom and providing for them on your 2 combined earnings is not the jerk. Your husband's suggestion is so far out of line, I don't even know where to begin. Would your mother-in-law, her badly behaved daughter, and her elderly mother even want to live in a 3-bedroom with you? But that's irrelevant, because it would be a horrible situation for you. Why would you want to fund that chaos? Your husband is being totally unreasonable and should at least talk to the family about all of the options. Not the jerk. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her husband? Please let us know.
Congrats, Reddit boy. Today's stories have triggered me much more than usual. I need a smoothie.
Karen is furious that she can't use our restroom. I work in a pet supply store in a large strip mall type area. For safety issues, our restrooms are for employee use only, locked with a keypad. This change happened the first week I started working there, so I never really asked any questions about it. We are literally a 30-second walk to several other stores that do have public restrooms. Me. Hi, is there anything you need help with? Customer.
I have been driving all day, and I really need to use the restroom.
She put extra emphasis on the all day part, and I could tell that she already knew our restrooms are not public, but she was trying to make me feel bad for her. Me. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't have public restrooms, but insert closest store name. Right next door does. Awkward silence for a moment. Me. Is there anything else I can help you with? Karen.
Where's the cat food?
Me. The next few aisles in that direction are all cat food. The next half hour includes her grabbing a single bag of cat food and then proceeding to walk around and have the exact same conversation with all of my coworkers. Every single one. She's yelling about how she's been driving all day and needs a restroom immediately. Interesting. You could have gone 20 minutes ago to the one next door. She comes back to the aisle I'm working on and meanders around a bit. Me. Is there something else I can help you with? Karen.
What I need help with is that I've been driving all day to get stuff from your store, and I just need to use the restroom.
She had a very common brand of cat food in her hand that she could have found in most grocery stores. Me. I'm so sorry, there's nothing I can do about that. She storms off yelling over the fact that she's spending money, so she should get to use our restroom. She's not the first one that's angry either. Common responses I get include, seriously? Are you kidding me? Or the classic eye roll. This happens at least twice a week. What's so special about our specific restroom that makes you need to use it? I'm just following the rules. I'd literally get in trouble if I let you use the restroom.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.